Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of At a Glance. Today we'll be going over the Balrog and Bison matchup. This will go over general punishes, how to approach specific situations, and just overall where to press, where not to press. Even if you don't play Balrog, this should be helpful to you. I'll be going over Balrog solutions and the general tips and tricks to deal with these situations depending on the character you play. To start though, we're going off with some Bison punishable things. So let's start with light scissors. Light scissors is -4, but quite easily spaceable. As you can see, if I set Balrog to do his farthest reaching light normal, I'm not getting punished. It's not difficult to space either, in the slightest. It is possible to punish, but you've got to be very careful. You've got to be careful of spacing. Generally, he needs to be pretty close in order for you to punish light scissors. So if he does say stand like light scissors, or sorry, stand like with light scissors because it's a true block string, you can punish it. But obviously if he's doing like slightly spaced light scissors, you aren't punishing it and you're probably going to get whiff punished. So be careful about light scissors. That's the only punishable scissors for the whole cast. For other members of the cast like Balrog, medium scissors is punishable. It's a bit more difficult to space, and is only -3. So obviously, Balrog can punish it because it's a very far-reaching free frame. But if you've got a stubby free frame like say Ryu, you're going to struggle to punish it. It's spaceable, but still extremely difficult to space. Heavy scissors, unpunishable, -2 on block. EX +1, and I will go through your options after the +1 later. But for now, we're going to go over some other punishes. To start, heavy punch inferno is -10, medium punch is -11, and light is -12. You know what that means as a Balrog player? It means to go for crouch heavy punch into hard upper for huge damage. It's spaceable to an extent where you can't punish it with crouch heavy punch, and at these ranges where he's spacing it for some reason, usually after hard punch, usually after something that's doesn't move him forward, you want to go for a crouch medium punch into MK low. Your character may be different. Carrying on, that's the end of our punishable normals. Some things to be aware of: head stomp, you can anti-air. I recommend air to airing if you block the first one, so he doesn't get the jump back in with the medium punch extender like so. I'd also be wary of devil reverse. It's quite plus on block. It can be extremely plus on block. So we do heavy, and then they'll go in and they'll do devil reverse, and they drop down and be +2, +3, +1. They can't usually throw, the pushback on it's quite a bit, but after EX, you have to be extremely wary as it's around +8 or more. So, be careful taking your turn and just take the throw mid-screen, as Bison's forward throw usually puts you full screen away. That is general punishes, general how to deal with things. Let's go over how to approach specific situations. To start, the most annoying Bison thing that he has in his arsenal, Psycho Axe. First, we're going to start with close range Psycho Axe. Close range Psycho Axe is +1, right? I have set Balrog to do his free frame. So, against free frame characters, Bison cannot do his normal string to go into a +3 normal. So let's set him to do nothing, +1, +3. And you can extend from that even further. It's +1, +3. And then we go crouch me and punch afterwards. And that's a frame trap for free framers. It will beat free framers but not free frame armor and free frame invincible DPs. You have to be aware of that. Now, as a free frame character, you don't want him to get away with this. You want to force him to use his stand light kick, his free frame normal, which is -2 on block. Now Bisons will usually end in light ball because it's safe on block compared to light scissors. Now Balrog does have an answer to this free frame string, and that option is turnaround punch. So Balrog will turnaround punch after stand light kick. Sorry about that. I need to set him to do it just straight after. So if he does EX ball, light ball, medium ball, but not heavy ball, Balrog will beat it with turnaround punch. This is important as a Balrog player, as you want to start making Bisons risk doing the Light Scissors Ender. So if I play Bison properly, Light Scissors Ender is -4 and you can punish it. So be extremely aware. Also be aware, am I ever going over this? But stand medium punch, down forward heavy punch is much quicker than his regular Psycho Axe. So you should be able to tell it it's -8 on block, and you can punish it with a crouch heavy punch. If he activates V-Trigger, do not be afraid of pressing a button on the +1, as his free frame does not have as much extension on it. Okay? Now, we've gone through close range Psycho Axe. You need to start pressing, even if you're a 4-frame character. You need to find the areas where he likes to press a bit more beefy buttons. If he goes for stand heavy, he's trying to bait out the latex, trying to go all for that. You can also hit him out of throw if he tries throwing at the Psycho Axe in the free. Now we go for Space Psycho Axe. I'm going to set to Balrog to a free frame again, and I will do a Space Psycho Axe. Bison will kind of trade with his free frame at this range, or with punish if he doesn't press it early enough. It's because his free frame hits in a later active frame. Now, Bison's not going to go for that free frame in that range, because he's not going to reach. He'll probably go for a crouching medium punch, which may be your free frame, depending on the character. Against Balrog, it generally doesn't unless perfectly spaced. But what Bison like to do is use that bully button of stand medium kick. Balrog can only trade with his stand medium kick, because his 6th frame does not reach far enough. Your character may have a better normal to deal with it. It needs to be 6 frames or faster and reach far enough to hit Bison during the startup, as Bison's standing medium kick has no hurt boxes until the active frames. He has his standing hurt box but nothing else. So be aware. Now we're going to go through the next option. We're going to go through the next option in fact. We're going to go through stand heavy kick. But to just end off the Psycho Axe, you need to take your turn eventually, or else you're going to get away with fake pressure and constantly extended plus frames that aren't real. To do this, use your 3 frame or 4 frame at times where you feel like it may work. And for far Psycho Axe, you want to try to take your turn with a normal that will either trade or beat his 6th frame and 7 frame stand medium kick. There is not much else Bison can do to deal with your normals if you have a normal that beats him at that range, except for a hard read stand light kick. Now we move on to stand heavy kick. Stand heavy kick is a very simple answer, and that answer is not press a button in the slightest. This answer is to backdash. So I've set him to backdash. My Bison, I will now try extending my pressure normally. Crouch medium punch, whiffs. And Bison, I want to try and catch a backdash or extend my pressure for a bit too long. Down forward heavy punch, Psycho Axe, doesn't work. Maybe try stand heavy punch, doesn't work. Try another stand heavy kick, doesn't work. Trying a stand medium kick, it can work. But you'll get an air reset and Bison doesn't get much from that. Stand medium punch is that. It is not going to work. And if he tries going into Shadow Axe, his target combo from this, he is -14. So you can take your turn very easily. It is not plus after that. If he tries dashing after the reset, take your turn. I would recommend going to train run whatever character you have and being aware of what Bison's forward dash animation looks like, so you could check it easily so Bisons aren't going with fake dashes. Bison has some of the longest recovery frames on his forward dash in the game, up there with, say, Abigail, Zangief. So be aware of that. Try and take your turn. Do not try and preemptively deal with Bison's dash, as it is invincible for a few frames. Now let's go over EX Scissors. EX Scissors is +1 on block, right? And it leaves him pretty close. You can do a walk-up throw, unless you backdash, of course. Let's turn off the backdash for a second. So you do a walk-up throw. It's a bit of a longer walk-up, but he can do it. And he gets his usual pressure. With a stand like kick and such. Now you can blow this up with a tap once again. We also need to know that if he's not in range where he gets stuff super close, the best option is to backdash. Do not give him free pressure. Backdash is a great option against Bison. Now this has been the EX Scissors. I'm now going to go over some of his V system. So Bison has his V skill 2. I'm only going to go over V-Skill 2 because V-Skill 1 is not important in this matchup, but if you're a projectile character, be aware of the V-Skill 1 as it can shut down most of your pressure game with fireballs, as it's a parry that absorbs projectiles and also parries normals on the 6th frame. Now Bison's V-Skill 2 is a teleport. His teleport is +1 on block like Psycho Axe and X's, but it does have quite a bit of pushback, so he needs to do a tiny walk up to get his throw. He gets his normal pressure with a stand light kick if you're a 3-frame character, and stand light punch if you're a 4-frame character. Now, the only issue with his V-Skill is it's super slow. You need to watch out for the backwards dash into the purple mist, and then press a button afterwards. You can crush counter it, it's possible. If your actions are very good, I'd recommend taking to either a light or a medium to check it if you do not trust your reactions. It is good to lab this to get used to the animation and maybe mix it in with some other Bison shenanigans like whiff punishing Psycho Axe due to its very long recovery. That is his V-Skill 1. I'm now going to go over a tiny bit of V-Trigger 2. So V-Trigger 2 gives him two options: a command grab, which will explode after a time period, like so, which you can see by the flashing lights, and it's extremely plus on block. He can dash up afterwards, or he can detonate it early for a lot of plus frames. Now, if he has the bomb on you, you can get rid of it by hitting him. You can also V-reversal, and that hit will count, and it will get rid of the explosion. Another part of this V-Trigger is Psycho Crusher. Something super important to know about Psycho Crusher is that after Heavy Punch Inferno, it hits cross up. So you need to change your block. See how that hit cross up? You need to change your block after Heavy Punch Inferno if he has V-Trigger 2 and block the mix-up. He has many other cross-ups and non-cross-up situations that you'll need to try and understand if you play enough Bisons. Not many Bisons are implementing much other than this specific Heavy Punch Inferno into V-Trigger. It's super safe as well, so do be aware you can't punish you from that distance. Now I'm going to go over something that not many characters can exploit depending on how their cross-up is, but Bison's weak anti-air game. So Bison has two anti-air options mainly, which is, or in fact 3 anti-air options. He has Crouching Jab, which works against a lot of characters with very poor jumping normals, such as Karen or Laura, but against characters like Balrog and Ken, he struggles very much to use his Crouching Jab anti-air. So he needs to go for his slower Crouching Heavy Punch. This Crouching Heavy Punch is not something you want to eat many of. Let's have a look at the damage. 100 damage for hitting that Crouching Heavy Punch, no matter which active frame. So you have to be very careful. Its reward, if it hits you in the air, is not that substantial, as it has a lot of pushback, and isn't very plus due to its long recovery. So be aware. His other option is Jumping Medium Punch. Jumping Medium Punch is very slow, but he gets some very strong conversions from it. So you've got to be careful being very predictable with your jump-ins and try to be in cross-up range to force him go for a jump-back jab or a delayed crouching jab. And that's how you deal with anti-airs most. Balrog isn't going to be crossing up very often, so it's best to be extremely aware that you can't cross up. You need to try and stay at spacing when you're jumping. This can make you very predictable, so I recommend as Balrog to stay on the ground. This has been M. Bison at a glance. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.